Yes, sir. Matrika, back up in this thing, man. Today, we'll be taking a look at some very peculiar videos from the underbelly of the internet. But before we hop into that, man, go ahead and spam that like button right now so we can run the numbers up on the algorithm, even if you don't think about it later. But with that being said, man, let's hop straight into the video.
Do you remember the video that I posted previously down below about those AI human clones advertising the creator? Remember I told you about when people do ugly things with technology, bad things will happen? This is the dude they cloned. And this dude's probably watching a football game and he sees himself on the Jumbotron. This is him speaking out. So how did the company clone this guy without his approval? This is crazy. Check this video out, comment below. I cannot believe that this happened.
1,000 people at a time. Every time I go live, it's almost 1,000 people watching this and they want to know what's going on. I'm telling y'all, bro. I don't care if I gotta go live every day to expose these folks. They done got caught.
When the videos of these AI first surfaced online, I knew it was just humans dressed up as robots to promote the movie, but maybe they used the likeness of random people to create skin masks for the costumes because they look identical. I can't tell if this is a possessed Halloween decoration or is just sitting on the fence in a weird way to make it rotate like that. But in the case of the former, I'm not taking my chances with any more adjustments if it stared at me like that.
Guys, the weirdest thing just happened to me in the backyard, and I'm so glad I got this on camera. So this cloud caught my attention because it was literally the only cloud in the sky that day. There was 0 clouds. And a few minutes later, the cloud was gone. And a few minutes later after that, the cloud was back. I thought I was going crazy. So I got out my phone, put it on time lapse. Check this out. Have you ever seen a cloud act like this before? All right, so now look, I know that clouds can technically dissipate and kind of reform, but I've never seen one do it quite like this. And especially a little itty bitty cloud on a hot summer day, all by itself, the only cloud in the entire sky, and this cloud barely moved. It pretty much stayed in the same spot and just kept disappearing and reappearing over and over again.
What does this mean? You guys are from NASA. That's right, you're from NASA.
Am I just being ignorant to some weird weather phenomenon I've never heard of before? Or is there something really strange about the way that cloud's acting?
I've personally never seen a single cloud in the sky dissipate and reform repeatedly like that. Plus, normal clouds travel through the sky. That seemed to stay stationary. I'm not sure how you could ever let it get this bad, bro. This had to take some time to accumulate. This house is rendered uninhabitable in my opinion.
For whatever reason, Speed is special. Not only did he grow his audience overnight, literally gaining 1 million subs in 1 week, which is rather suspicious, but he also managed to sign a record deal with Warner Music and another deal with the streaming site Rumble, all while avoiding being cancelled for his antics. Recently, Speed was in the headlines trending all over social media for controversial reasons that left people thinking this time he would be cancelled for sure. While Speed was streaming live to over 25,000 people, he ended up flashing his man junk to the camera. He was on stream playing a horror game when a jump scare made him jump out of his seat and begin to thrust the air as his junk was revealed. Speed quickly ended the stream and told his audience it was all an accident, but the damage was already done as his fans had screen recorded it and spread it all over the internet. After this happened, people were wondering if Speed would finally get cancelled. He streamed his junk to thousands of viewers, some of them who possibly could have been kids. On top of this was done on YouTube, a platform that is known for their censorship. According to what's being reported, Speed's channel wasn't banned because they deemed it an accident. But if you were to ask me, I'm not so sure it was an accident at all.
I know at least 99% of content creators could never get away with this, including me. So either he lucky or he aligned himself with the right people.
Okay, so I was just learning about how apparently there are all kinds of fake towns across the world. It's called a Potemkin village. You see how this is just being held up by beams? It's basically just a fake town in a city that is designed designed to deceive people into believing that the city is doing better than it really is. Like, this is in Russia, and abandoned buildings just get a slab of new paint, so that way if you're just crossing by on a train, you think that the town is doing better than it really is. But sometimes they're built to serve a completely different purpose. Like, there's a Potemkin village in North Korea that directly faces South Korea. It's an entirely fake town with clean streets, apartment complexes, and even working electricity. But the entire town is completely fake.
I can see how this could be effective in certain situations, but you got to be really down and out if you get enticed by the North Korean Potemkin village.
I thought this was interesting. The FDA ruling that the ingredient in Benadryl and Sudafed from the pharmacy shelves don't work. Okay, so they might pull them down off the shelves because really we're just throwing our money away if we buy them. Now, these particular products have been on the shelf since like 2006 because that's when they moved the good stuff behind where you had to sign for it. Okay, so that was in 2006. So for like 17 years, these things that don't work have been on the shelves for people to spend their money on. And suddenly the FDA wants to say, hey, we should probably take those off the shelves. I mean, where were we 17 years ago? And people wonder why we're so full of mistrust anymore, that we don't believe everything that we see and hear and read. Well, there's a reason for that.
This to me indicates that they probably didn't test it the first time they approved it 17 years ago, and it's conveniently right before flu season.
What would you do if you've seen a spider behind the light switch?
It looks aggressive too, bro. I would just hope it's too thick to squeeze between that crack.
Mexico had a hearing last night, and their hearing was about aliens. And instead of doing what the U.S. does and just totes you along, they said, hey, we have proof. Let's talk about it. So it is a preserved body. It was covered in a diatomic white substance that basically preserved it. It's about 1,000 years old. So it's an older featured creature. Both its feet and its hands are tridactyl, which means they have 3 fingers, but you'll see that there's no carpal or tarsals, leading it right into its arm. Inside its cavity, you'll notice that there's 3 oblongated, calcified objects. Some people are saying that this are eggs. However, speaking of eggs, it has intact fallopian tubes with eggs inside of it. Here's another image for reference. You'll also notice that it has 14 completely circular ribs, similar to what you find in a bird. So they're saying it's more of like a bird reptilian-like creature. It has a deep concave circular spine, which, similar to turtles, it has an expandable contracting neck. It has a pneumaticized air pocket in its head, allowing for cranial activity to expand, allowing for large brain matter to basically be there. These ocular orbits are very large, allowing for a wide view of vision. So this is very ET-like. I mean, this is crazy. The skeletal structure on it is very, very light, that like a bird, but it is super strong. And out of millions of sequencing of its DNA, 30% of it is of unknown origin, 70% of that being known, so bacteria and things like that. Anyways, this is what happened last night at the Mexico hearing. What's your thoughts on it? Hey, is this real? Who knows? Things have been faked in the past, but the things that caught me off guard was the fallopian tubes with eggs inside of it. Something like that is very, very hard to duplicate in a fake manner.
I find it kind of interesting that the body they presented closely resembles the figures found at the Nazca lines, but in my opinion, this just seems like a distraction because I think that this was already debunked. But let me know what you guys think. I think I'm fine not knowing what goes on in here, bro. This is like Jason Voorhees' S&M dungeon.
The Paranormal Chick here. Take a look at this new UFO footage. This was captured and recorded on September 14th, 2023 in Culiacan, Sinaloa, Mexico. The witness records what seems to be a massive UFO over a neighborhood. The question to ask is, what is it doing and why is it there? Take a look at this video and tell me what you think.
Venga, córrele. ¿Qué? Mire. ¿Es un nuevo? ¿Pero qué es? Venga, córrele. Edie?
You can see a uniform line of sparks dropping from the bottom of it twice in the video. So I don't know if this is a UFO or just something on fire. If it is a UFO though, I don't think we got an answer for this.
Oh, look at the old bloodworm. Jesus. Oh, freaky, 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 freaky. Put him on the sand. Look how quickly he burrows in the sand. Out. Oh, he's upside down.
He seems pretty comfortable handling it, so I know this is probably normal, but I don't think you could ever pay me enough to pick up something with that many legs and that's wiggling that hard.
Do not eat from any fast food restaurant on September the 18th of 2023. Here is the reason why there's a bunch of speculation on this date right now. So September 18th, which is in 2 days, is National Cheeseburger Day. A bunch of different chains of fast food restaurants are hosting a huge sale on cheeseburgers, but here's the problem. I'll let you know which restaurants in just a second. So the reason why this is all blowing up in the first place is because of The Simpsons. So as we all already know, The Simpsons have told the future time and time and time again on their episodes. So the specific episode of The Simpsons that hosts this burger sale is season 21, episode 4, and it's about burgers squared. So in this Simpsons episode, Krusty the Clown is standing outside the burger location and he's explaining to the news anchor that the burgers are made by feeding cows to other cows before the unholy results are served on a whole grain bun. And then all of the people that eat these burgers are turning into zombies. Obviously do with this information as you please, but here's some of the locations that are doing the sale. We obviously have McDonald's, we also have Burger King, we also have Wakendies, also Applebee's and Dairy Queen.
Fast food burgers are already suspiciously cheap, so you can only imagine what kind of beef they use for those patties if they can just afford to give them away like that.
In China, for example, God, this is going to happen here, I think, too. Although maybe people will fight it. If a traffic camera catches you jaywalking in China, the digital ID system has you. It has your blood now. It has your genetic code. Has your photograph. It can identify how you walk, so even if you can't see a face, you can be picked up by gait. It will convict you of jaywalking and take money out of your bank account with no intermediating judiciary at all, and show a picture of you to the people in the neighborhood so they know that you have jaywalked, and reduce your social credit score. And if your social credit score falls below a certain level, then you can't buy drinks from a vending machine. You can't play video games. You can't go on a train. You can't get out of your 15-minute city. All that's already in place in China.
I can almost guarantee that this wouldn't bode well if they tried to implement this in any other country, bro. This would just cause civil unrest.
A Texas woman found a strange animal in her backyard and is asking her neighbors for help to identify it. The animal was eating cherries in Tina Kalig's yard when she spotted it. She'd seen plenty of animals in her yard before, but this was the first time where she couldn't identify what it was. Looking kind of like a hyena, kind of like a mountain lion, kind of like a blonde chupacabra, no one's really sure what this creature is. One zoologist even speculated that it could even be a New Guinea singing dog, which is an ancient lineage of dog that's found on the island of New Guinea in the Southwest Pacific Ocean, according to San Antonio Express News. Though how a dog like this might have ended up in Texas is anyone's guess.
Maybe it's some rare species of wolf or coyote, because if not, then that's a chupacabra, bro. Let me know what y'all think that is.
Well, Carnival Cruise is under fire again for not being able to find a missing passenger that went missing over Labor Day weekend. This is 26-year-old Kevin McGrath, and he went on the cruise celebrating his dad's 60th birthday. They went to the Bahamas, and then they came back. They came back to Miami, and the last time that anyone saw him was around 2 a.m. that morning, which was going into Labor Day, so Sunday into Monday. His brother was the last one to see him. But his key card chimed in sometime after 3 a.m. When Carnival Cruise checked surveillance videos, they didn't see anybody going overboard. Their sensors hadn't gone off. And when they docked in Miami, there was a complete search of the ship, and he was not found. It's like he just disappeared. This is the last video of him. He's right here. I will show that to you again at the end of this video here so that you can see the full video. So if he didn't go overboard and he didn't disembark then where did he go?
There has to be at least 1,000 security cameras on that shit, bro. So somebody from the cruise line knows what happens. They just trying to avoid them charges in that lawsuit.
You know, of course she was going to say that, but...
Poor baby.
Yeah, she's really, really committed to that. It's really sad.
No, I'm not a poor baby. I'm more reptilian and cold-blooded and go in to win the election.
We're going to take a short break. I want to talk to you more about President Biden and some other things.
Thank you.
I came across a document today from the CIA.
This is scary.
It's something. Let's go! The CIA representatives referred to the case as a, quote, horrific picture that makes one's blood freeze, end quote. A quiet, low-flying spaceship appeared above a military unit. For unknown reasons, someone unexpectedly launched a surface-to-air missile and hit the UFO. 5 short humanoids, large heads, and large black eyes, end quote, emerged from it. What? That's not even the crazy part. After freeing themselves from the debris, the aliens came close together and then, quote, merged into a single object that acquired a spherical shape, end quote. The object began to buzz and hiss sharply and then became brilliant white. At that very instant, 23 soldiers who watched this phenomenon turned into ... stone holes. What? Is that not crazy?
That's so crazy.
If aliens can turn you into stone like Medusa now, I don't think there's much we could do about that, but it's really starting to seem like they're releasing all this information to keep our attention or prepare us for the big Project Bluebeam reveal.
Yo.
What the?
No way. You're kidding me right now.
Oh my god.
Dude, what the is that? It's like shooting.
It's like going both ways too.
Dude, what are those lights though? Like,
is that Elon Musk again?
I want to say that this is just a SpaceX rocket, but there seem to be 2 of them and they didn't seem to be moving, so I'm not sure about this one, man. Let me know what you guys think.
Accepting this deception requires a lot of faith. Wake up from the
thing that we're seeing right here with this big curve is literally inside of this circle. Okay? This is just a fisheye lens, a high altitude balloon or airplane. The whole thing is this, right? Where's the rest of the Earth? Right? That makes no sense whatsoever. 2012 picture, right? So I drew a circle here showing you what we're seeing on their landmass. You have to believe that all of this landmass is on the other side. Now again, this is where your brain goes, I can't process that. You can't process it because it's unprocessable. You're shown a lie this big. Some people's egos, some people just can't handle it. They're like, my whole lie can't be alive. That because when you unwind the flat earth deception, it's some, I don't want to say scary, it's some crazy deception. It is such a big deception. It's kind of upsetting. But once you get through that, right? There's the river right here. There's the river, right? All of this is on the other side of that ball. Okay? Thank you for laughing. Because most people are like, I can't think about it. It's too hard. Okay?
It's ridiculous, really.
I don't agree with this one because the map he used as a reference had incorrect proportions. In reality, Africa is much larger and you would probably see it on one side of the earth.
Nah, bro, because what happened to his tattoo? Like, what happened to the tattoo on the back of his head? Because I remember I drew it. This is a drawing I did of Jamie Foxx back in 2020. And it's ballpoint pen. But look, his tattoo. I remember. What happened, Jamie? What happened to your tattoo?
I vividly remember there being a tattoo on the back of his head, bro. Either he actually got cloned or this is a new Mandela effect.
So the biggest swamp in the world is in the middle of Africa. It's called the Likwala Swamp. That swamp is huge. Most Americans don't appreciate the size of Africa. Here's what Africa looks like next to the entire United States. Africa's gigantic, okay? That swamp is bigger, is the same size as the state of Florida, 55,000 square miles. That swamp is huge. Did you know that swamp today is 80% unexplored? In 1885, Congo in Africa was taken over by Belgium, and it was called the Belgian Congo for many, many years. In 1960, the communists liberated them. You know how the communists liberate countries. They tell everybody, okay, you're free now. Yeah, anyway. There were reports in that swamp from the 1700s when the missionaries went in there and said, man, there are dinosaurs still living in that swamp. Dinosaurs still alive? 1910, New York Herald ran an article about dinosaurs still living in Africa's swamps. Here's a Saturday Evening Post, 1948. There could be dinosaurs still alive in Africa. Big game hunter named Mr. Gobbler returned from a trip to Angola. He announced to the Cape Town newspaper, the Cape Argus, that there was an animal of large dimensions, the description of which could only fit a dinosaur. The natives call it Chippequi. In Central African Republic, they call it Nguri. Roy Mackle went there in 1980 on an expedition. He spent $250,000. As they traveled around the swamp, the natives talked about this animal called Mahamba. He said, "What's that?" And they showed him a crocodile. "Oh yeah, that's the Mahamba right there, Mahamba." He said, "How big does it get?" They pasted off on the sandbar, 50 feet long. And everybody says, "No, crocodiles, they never get past about 17 feet. Oh, I don't think that's correct. Earlier in the summer of 2005, they killed a 24-foot crocodile in that swamp. Of course, the natives will say, "Oh, you should see the big ones." The natives also talk about an animal they call Mokele Mbembe. Well, if you show them the picture of an apatosaurus, they'll say, yep, that's it, Mokele Mbembe. The natives claim these animals live underwater. They're very rare. Of course, they're in the swamp in Africa, and nobody goes out at night anyway, and there's no lights over there at night. But the animals are seen mostly early morning or late in the evening when they come out, and their favorite plant is the Malombo plant.
It's hard to refute all of those newspaper clippings. Plus, 80% is still undiscovered, so you can't say with certainty that these creatures don't still live there.
We had an FBI consultant on the picture. He told me that 1 in 5 phone calls that you make are recorded and logged. And I laughed at him, and then he played back a phone conversation I'd had 2 years prior to joining the picture. The FBI consultant. And it was like one of those phone calls, like, you know, what are you wearing type of things.
And they wonder why people don't trust the feds.
I tried to tell you that many people today are descendants of artificial humans and clones. And you didn't believe me. But when I say I got your ass, oh, I've got your ass. So after the mud flood and the Great Reset, they would have needed people to repopulate these cities. That's when the so-called baby incubators come into play. First time the public saw these human growing pods was at the World's Fairs, disguised as incubators for premature babies, at the same time that they came out with the Cabbage Patch babies. You have to understand, they always tell you what they're doing. You just have to be able to understand the language. By showing us these images, they are telling us that babies can be grown. I know this might be hard for some of you to understand, and it seems impossible. But believe me, nothing's impossible.
After hearing this, it does seem kind of strange that every Cabbage Patch doll comes with its own birth certificate too. So I don't know if that's just a coincidence or not.
I cannot make this up. I went to get my chicken. It's paper. They literally fried paper. They're not about to like me.
They went through all the steps of egg wash, batter, and fry and still didn't catch this.
You guys remember the airplane lady from a month ago? The woman who claimed the man on her plane wasn't actually a man at all, and then seemingly disappeared until last week. No one knew who she was, where she came from, or where she lived up until last week, where she ended up on a TMZ interview apologizing for how she acted on the plane. This is supposedly Tiffany Gomez, the crazy airplane woman. But something strange is going on. This is the airplane lady, set to be Tiffany Gomez, but this is her interview. This is what she looked like in her interview. And let's just say she doesn't look the same. Where you have supposed Tiffany Gomez, the woman who was on the plane, and then you have the actual footage of the woman on the plane, and they don't look the same. They look strikingly different. There's also someone on TikTok who ran a face recognition with AI from the woman on the plane and the picture or the video of the TMZ footage of her apology. And from what I understand with the face recognition, you're supposed to run a 6. If you're the actual person in the video or in the picture, you'll run a 6 if that's actually you. And she scored a 1. You then have a side-by-side of another picture added where it didn't go up at all. The other weird thing is after her apology, the only person she followed on Instagram was TMZ. People then decided to start doing a little bit more digging when they realized this doesn't look like the same woman and she could be cloned. They then decided to find out where her IP was located. And it was exactly 2 minutes from the White House. Now here's my honest opinion. No, I do not think the woman was cloned. Do I think this is the same woman though? Absolutely not. Face structure is different, and the fact that she lives 2 minutes from the White House is a little bit sketchy. On top of the fact that she may have seen something on that plane and they decided to get rid of her, if you know what I mean. All conspiracy, not fact. Definitely something to look into though.
There were a lot of people who thought that she might have been wearing a mask in the first video, so maybe that wasn't even her to begin with, but I can also see TMZ using a face swap filter to get more views.
Popeyes chicken sandwich. Come to find out, they have 40
over 40 ingredients in the Popeyes chicken sandwich. 32 of them were man-made chemicals. And I said, well, let's see what Chick-fil-A has. Over 50 in the chicken sandwich, over 40 of them were man-made chemicals. So whenever I seen that, I said it in a message. And someone took the clip of it and then went on the website of Chick-fil-A, had it broke down where they were clicking on it, showing all of the ingredients and these chemicals that were in it. Do you know the next day Chick-fil-A took that down off their website? So now you can't find the ingredients to the Chick-fil-A sandwich or the Popeyes chicken sandwich.
This might explain why the drive-through lines for both Chick-fil-A and Popeyes always spills out into the street, but them taking the ingredients list off the website just looks guilty.
Basically, strange creatures seem to occasionally just wash up on the Montauk shore. The phenomenon has become so common that the creatures have been dubbed the Montauk Monsters. Conspiracy theorists have speculated that these strange creatures are actually escaped experiments from nearby Plum Island. Plum Island is home to the Plum Island Animal Disease Center, a laboratory that is run by Homeland Security and by all accounts was initially set up as a test center for U.S. biological and for genetic testing on animals.
Whenever stuff like this washes up on shore, usually the nearest military base or laboratory is the prime suspect. It's probably just a strong gust of wind that blew against the umbrella to make it move like that, but it run exactly like a kid playing ding dong ditch. But with that being said, guys, that was the video. Thank you for coming to kick it with me. Let me know what you guys thought about these creepy videos in the comments below. And until next time, y'all take care of yourself.